This is Paul Whitley with C-Suite Support. I hope you're in a warmer place than we are today as we navigated roads to get in here today. C-Suite Support. We are fractional CFOs that work with companies to help them grow their revenue, maintain the operational expense controls, count the beans when it's all done so that we know how we performed against that. So our job is to help you grow your company, maintain the profitability of your company, and work with you on all of the decisions that you need to make on a global basis. So today we have a gentleman named Flip Howard. I don't know if he worked in a burger joint when he got started, but somewhere he got the nickname Flip. Flip is CEO of Workspace. And we're going to talk about how Workspace can help your company either save money, extend the revenue. You let me get by with that. Extend the revenue across other areas across the country one way or another if they need to open offices in Dallas, Houston, etc., and they don't want to open up a place. For 10 years, I worked out of an office suite just north of here and worked for 3 different companies. Never moved out of the building. And each time I was in an office suite. So I'm one of those people that is on the ground, have been there, know what it's worth, as well as know the value of how to turn that back around. So Flip, tell us what you do, why you did it, and why you decided to stop doing the burgers.
Well, you left out that he's sponsored by Head and Shoulders also.
Oh,
so keep that.
All right.
Yeah, no, there was no burgers. I changed my name when I was 7 years old from Philip to Flip so I could play in the NFL. But that didn't work out very well for me. So anyway, I'm in the boring office-based business now. No, but I love it. It's what we do is a company called Workspace, and we provide shared workspace. And they're getting incredibly popular now. You have a spectrum of styles I think a lot of people are familiar with the more Regis style, executive suite style, and then there's the really kind of edgy co-working, like WeWork style, and ours is kind of smack in the middle called Workspace. And I do it because our motto is not just a tagline. Our motto is work is good, where you do it matters. Because I really think that your surroundings matter. I think that we were talking about vacations just a minute ago, and I think people pay a lot of money to sit and drink a cold beer just sitting by the pool if you're in Tahiti. But doing the same thing, by a roadside motel on 35 is depressing. And I think that what you surround yourself with really matters. And I think that people need good, private, productive, professional workspaces. So that's why we do it.
Well, I totally agree with that. And from the standpoint of what is interesting about your business, what makes this show something that a CEO, and predominantly CEOs or other C-suite type people are getting involved in, how do you take your business and make it work with a company to save money, to be a very efficient situation, and take care of their employees or self-employed people to get their jobs done?
So I'll give 2 answers to that. Pre-COVID, and for the last 19 years, it was pretty simple. If you have a company that's less than 10 people, flexible workspace is always the best solution because you have shared use of kitchens and conference rooms and a lot of that stuff. You can rent less space. You have no long-term leases. You're not locked down. You don't have to lock into a certain head count for a certain amount of time. So for anybody, say a company of less than 10 people, we were always the most cost-effective and smartest place. Now, since COVID, actually that group is expanding, and now I think we're starting to already see, and people are predicting a kind of a tsunami of larger groups not wanting to sign 5 and 10 year deals, even 20, 30, 50, and 100 employee groups not wanting to sign 5 and 10 year traditional leases and looking into flexible space. So we're already trying to kind of tailor some of our offerings to bigger groups as well.
Well, one of the things that I saw this last year with several of my clients, we went through lease situations. We either tried to extend them, tried to break them, get out of them because we had such a reduction of employees. We tried to cut expenses and things of that nature, and some of them were successful. Others just had to bite the bullet, or that we got some deferment of payments. However, for you to go back into a new office space right now, if you're expanding or you're doing anything to open up a business or start a business, you get in there and you're going to spend $20,000 for a couple of people, or $100,000 for a dozen people for leaseholds. That's money out of pocket, and or it's built into your lease cost. You're never going to get that money back. Tell me how you compare to a rental of a business in terms of cost to what you can do as well as that flexibility.
Yeah, so 2 things. If you have people who want to work in an office all day, every day, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, You can put multiple people in an office or have an office each, and you're anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per person per month. But there's no, setup at the beginning. It's short term, so it's, it's generally, like I said, it's a cost effective. It's always more cost effective than doing a traditional lease. Our spaces, I think, if you go see them, you'll also find that you actually get, for less money, a more professional, big, fancy thing. Because I spend a bunch of money building the whole thing out at the beginning. And because you have
spent your money instead of them having to spend
their
money.
and it's because every single small person doesn't need their own 4 nice conference rooms and their own huge kitchen and their own huge reception area, so they get to share that. And so that's why you're able to provide something that's higher quality for less money, because it's shared use of it.
Heck of a deal. Heck of a deal.
There you go.
Well,
higher quality, less money.
And we have obviously a couple of spaces with you guys,
Right.
and a lot of our clients do. A huge part of our people that we have are that under 10, kind of smaller spaces. And for you to have that type of office where you have a receptionist, you walk in, nothing's branded with your guys' logo, so it feels and looks like it's that client stuff, it's their big thing. So to have that on their own would be, like you said, hundreds of thousands of dollars for that same look feel that you're basically getting for literally
And I'm glad you noticed something that's
beans. to take one of your words,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you noticed something that's kind of been a competitive advantage of ours that goes unnoticed a lot, and it's the kind of white label, behind the scenes unbrandedness of it. Most of our competitors, whether it's a Regis or WeWork or all the others, their logo's behind the reception desk, and so you feel like you're walking into a shared kind of temporary space. And our logo's nowhere, because we say we're about your brand, not ours. So that's it. Mm-hmm. The other thing we're seeing a lot of now that's really kind of interesting is people who aren't sure who's going to work when, where. They aren't sure who's going to be in the office what days, and it's not as simple as it used to be pre-COVID. I've got 4 employees, so I need 4 offices. Now we're having a lot of, all right, I've got 12 employees, I need 2 of their own offices all day, every day, but let me start with 2 other offices, and I think these people are going to be in there certain days a week, but can I just add another one if I need it? And so there's a lot of people doing the kind of hybrid, even almost time-shared office space. And so with a thing like ours, you can just kind of add and subtract offices whenever you want until you figure out who's going to work, when and where.
Perfect. Stephen, you're in one of his offices. Tell us about your company and how it works for you, and what do you do for people? I mean, besides sit there and try to look handsome and gorgeous and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, usually we could do that with you guys, but with Flip here, we're second fiddle now. So,
gorgeous. That's quite a word.
But I think one of the really cool things is, again, we also have a lot of independent agents and contractors that work with us too, right? And if they have a really big client that they want to bring in, it's a huge opportunity for us to extend that ability for that agent to have a really professional space that they could take an executive in and feel like they're really, top of the food chain, which is, what that office and the environment totally does. So I was super impressed the first time I was in there and continue to be. So for somebody of any kind of business, if you're especially wanting to meet people, I think it's fantastic. And if you're just looking for a place, so you got a dog and kids at home and you want to be in a professional, quiet place that you can actually focus on, awesome place too.
Well, when you're at work, what do you actually do?
Oh, for me, hardly anything.
No, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Your company. Let's change that around. What does your company do that you need your agents and you need your stuff? Tell the people what you do.
So we help independent contractors, small businesses, all up to in the 20, 30,000 employee space, how to offer health insurance to their employees or executives, their independent contractors. And so again, that's why I think this is such a perfect fit for a lot of our clients as well, is because they're in that space, they're too big to be potentially get a true group policy, and obviously the people that work for them need health insurance, right? So by being able to just simply offer access not only to an office, but really high quality health insurance is a win-win when you're looking to hire basically anybody. So it's kind of a two-head approach that accomplishes both things.
Well, I want to throw something at you that has recently come to me. Right now, I don't have a workspace, but then I built out this place in my home that it would be very expensive for me to duplicate somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But now that I'm bringing on employees, I've been working with contractors 1099. But with that, you and I have just recently talked about the fact I can bring on one employee, one 1099, or 10 employees or whatever, provide insurance for them, even if they're 1099. So employee-wise or 1099-wise, I get the opportunity of having insurance for all of those people. And I can choose whether to participate in the cost or not. How would that program work for if Flip wanted to make that available to all these people that are in his offices, many of which are trying to figure out how to get insurance, or they're paying a phenomenal amount for insurance. What you gave me, I got a 40-year-old person can have full medical coverage, $250 deductible for like $500 a month. That's phenomenal. And they can get vision, they can get dental, they can whatever. Whether it's offered as an add-on to your group, it puts some handcuffs to your group, and I say handcuffs, but it actually can flow with them. But it would give somebody a reason to come to your place rather than to go to a Regis or somewhere else where they're just the person that's in door 4. Tell me, would something like that help you for a calling card out there?
Sounds like it might. Sounds like maybe we need to talk after.
All right.
this.
Well, get in the paper.
We sign right here. Yeah.
But no, to your point, we work with a lot of associations, and again, their purpose of that is you can pay money anywhere to be part of different groups. So what sets it apart, And so one of the things is, as a large group, if you can, we work with a lot of roofers, a lot of truck drivers, a lot of real estate agents, all that same kind of group, highly qualified, paid people that are independent and can't access their own stuff. And so if you can provide a group space or a place that you could get access to that, it's an incredible recruiting perk, a incredible retention perk. We've even worked with a couple other spaces where, if they're there for a couple months, then they get access to it. So it's a really cool way to kind of add additional value with costing absolutely nothing for any group that kind of wants to do it.
And as you say, it gives them the opportunity to have an adult job.
There you go. Yeah.
They can make income and take care of the family, not only with their income, but with medical insurance, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
me and Bob were talking. Their single biggest expense any person will ever have in their lifetime isn't their car payment, their house payment. It's their health insurance that goes up 5-10% a year, never changes across the board. And when you do that, it's an incredibly cool thing that you can, again, offer a true big boy job for something that may not otherwise.
But I'm surprised. I have a lot of friends who've wanted to start their own business, and the main thing keeping them from doing it is that it's not the salary. It's I don't know, I got benefit. Health. It always comes back to the health insurance is like what keeps them locked into this job they hate. And
let's take it a step further. The insurance programs that he has will have somebody that has pre-existing conditions. That's one of the biggest things. And I have clients right now that are wanting to change insurance, or they have issues with their insurance, but cannot because they've got some employees on pre-existing. He gives you that opportunity to do that. Okay, so now we've worked on your vertical. We're going to give you a new place to make some money off the deal.
There you go.
But reality, if you were talking to entrepreneurs right now, what would be the one thing that you think an entrepreneur needs to pay attention to help his business, period, and then how you can help something along with that?
I would say right now the thing that COVID caused us to do, really kind of think the silver lining that's going to come out of all this, I think we will be a better company forever because of the kind of introspection that we've done in the last year. I think pre-COVID we were just rolling along, everything was going well, we did everything the way we did everything. And COVID caused us to kind of look at every part of our company and kind of treat it like a blank slate and go, is this the best way to do this? Is this really consistent with our core of what we're all about? Is this consistent with what our competitive advantages are? And we kind of pivoted and tweaked a lot of our offerings. We streamlined a lot of expenses. And I think that that's what all companies need to be doing right now, is kind of taking this opportunity. I mean, it's kind of funny to say, we made less money in 2020 than we made in a long time, but yet we're running our business better than ever. And so, when the market is fully healthy again, we'll be better positioned to kind of ride that wave up.
Okay. Did you just hear my GPS go off?
Yeah.
I think I'm here, but
50 feet that way is going to be a problem.
Just get on the roads and get in the ice. I've got to turn my ways off.
And the best thing is, every single time we're on this show, we get a lecture from Paul saying, whatever you do, turn your phone off. And so now we're forever exempt from ever messing up, because I love it when it happens. So.
What can I say? It's probably going to talk to you some more.
Yeah, you get a hall pass too. That's awesome.
On that one.
What do you tell people right now that are not willing to spend money, that they should spend money so they can make money?
I mean, I don't know that that's really different now than ever before, right? I mean, you have to spend money to make money, whether that's on, the obvious ones or advertising and PR and things like that. But I think office space is a similar thing. I think if you want to have typically, like I said, the average office space costs $500 to $1,000 per person per month. So call that 10 grand a year. And if the average person, makes 50 or 100 a year, you're saying, can they be 10% more productive if you've got everybody in an office? And I think most people would say you can be more than 10% more productive. And so, there's a little bit of foresight involved, just like there is with any investment. But, I don't really think that COVID makes it, or a tough economy, or a little mini recession, or whatever you want to call what we're in right now, changes the dynamic that you have to invest to have success, right?
Exactly. Well, this year, one of my clients was paying $14,000 a month for their rent. Had quite a few employees, but they're a SaaS company, software as a service. So they're very technology minded and can work really anywhere. Well, we were able to cancel out that lease. They've taken a Workspace. They probably should have gotten in touch with you, but they're taking a Workspace, and now they're paying collectively $6,000 a month for offices that they need, open space that they can use, conference rooms that they needed for their business situation, and they're doing the rotation of some of the people are working from home that don't need to be interacting. An IT guy, usually computer, head down, they don't know anything else that's going on in the world until they have to go fix something. Well, in the suites, typically you've got everything fixed. So tell me about that can work in your place.
Yeah, so typically I believe events like this, major, huge events like this, just accelerate trends that are already, happening. In other words, this will accelerate the adoption of Amazon versus retail and some of those kinds of things that are all happening anyway. And I think it's the same with flexible workspace. I think that 1% of all the office space in America was flexible 5 years ago. Right before COVID, it had tripled to 3%. So in 5 years, 300% increase.
Wow!
And they're all predicting. JLL and a lot of the other major commercial real estate brokerages are predicting that by 2030, that'll be anywhere from 20 to 30% of the office space.
Now there's a big number. When you're saying 1 to 3, that's kind of like the turtle getting on the race there. But I think you're right. We're having so many companies, and again, I've got the gauntlet of the different pieces. They're closing their office. They're getting workspaces to where they can flex in, working from home right now, but there's a major thing that we as just human beings need to do, and that's have interaction. That's what I'm hearing. We're seeing it through just all of the, I won't say news events, the opinion events that are out there telling us what's going on, but reality is we need to interact with people to be comfortable, to be happy, etc. And to get these people out of their homes, back into an office environment. What are you doing in your office spaces to where they can come in, feel like it's a family situation, have things that can keep them where they're interested in the office and in people and interaction and talking to somebody that they're not on a Zoom call with.
It's funny. Somebody recently, last few months, said, I heard it. I thought it was a great phrase. He said, if you want to make sure you have a mediocre home life and a mediocre work life, use the same space for both.
I can attest.
That's kind of funny. But yeah. So in our spaces, and I guess I would just answer that question by kind of painting a spectrum. And I think there's different types of people that like different types of places. There are people who thrive on the buzz and the energy of working from a Starbucks. There are people who want to have headphones on and a door shut and be by themselves. And there's kind of a spectrum. And even within flexible workspaces, like I said, there's a Regis style, which is it's just kind of a long hallway of doors. Everybody's doors shut and it's all drywall. And if you like that style of total privacy, that's your end of the spectrum. If you want a big open collaborative space where you're bumping into people all day long and you're all about making connections and maybe you don't want to do a lot of kind of closed, head down focused work, the WeWork style, very co-working place, is a fit for you. Ours, we find, our niche is kind of in the middle where there's a lot of community and there's a lot of people, the kind of water cooler, spontaneous conversations, but everybody goes back to their own private offices. There's a mix of glass and drywall. So that's really, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer there. It's just depending on your style. Ours are typically, more professional, a little more seasoned professionals than what you'd find in like a WeWork, which is a very millennial, friendly place, but it's not kind of old and dark and sleepy like, a lot of the old school executive suites are.
Well, I would go along with that. The 10 years that I spent in an office suite down here on the toll road, I was in the Regis type situation. I went into my office, I shut my door, I worked my whatever hours per day, and for me, it being kind of the geek that I am, I had surround sound speakers set up, office, but that worked for me. I really do like working with people, though. And that's one of the things that being a fractional CFO, I've got 28 people that report to me, but I don't pay any of them. I've got some others that I do pay for, but those people work with me. I love that interaction. Now, unfortunately, most of that's on Zoom right now, but we'll get back into those things. I didn't really care for being a man, on an island by myself all day long, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, all year long.
I bet your coworkers might have appreciated that. But.
They probably did. They probably did. But it wasn't what I wanted. It just what was available. And I love the open office space. You know, some of the things. And here's a plug for Veridesk. They've got some great things that they do. Their setups. I have a timer on my desk. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my desk rises. Okay, means I get up. All right, I'm sitting there. Desk lowers, so I'm typing as it goes down. But okay, this is my reminder to do something, and that's one of the things that when you get in that office environment to where you're the only person there, if you're not doing something to keep active, you're going to become very first no exercise. During that period of time, I extended my opportunity by all the food I ate and didn't do any exercise. So tell me, when you're moving down this road, we're coming out of COVID, we've talked about it, the businesses are coming back in, they've got to make decisions on what they're doing as they're building, and fortunately we're sitting here in Texas to where we're kind of pretty much business as usual. I think the opportunities are there for companies to save money, have at least equal, if not better, environment to what they have right now. So many companies are sitting in this Regis type situation, and maybe that's what they want, but they can move into more of a community situation, and particularly with the millennials. Millennials love this kind of thing, and they're making up more and more of the workforce as time goes along.
Yeah, we've actually had a really good December and January with a lot of sales. I think people are kind of ready to get back to work and thinking, okay, 2020's over. It's 2021. It's time to. We can't just wallow around anymore in mediocrity. It's time to start flying again. And I think that I think another good silver lining that'll come out of this sort of work from home and this sort of lockdown experiment is I think a lot of people are figuring out where I do what type of projects best. And so, I don't know about you guys, but like I have certain things where I just feel like I need to be at my desk at my house. It's just a different kind of brain space. And certain times that I really need to be in my office, and I can't do it in my house. And sometimes I'll be at one place and I'm just kind of hitting that dead end on a project and like, okay, I'm going to shake this up and I'm going to go to, either a different space in our office, to one of our co-working rooms, or I'm going to go home and do this, or I'm going to, if it's summertime, I'm going to go to the backyard and sit by the pool and make this call. I think variety of workspace is something that people need, and it's going to be something that we'll see more of after, on the other side of all this. People thinking about what kind of things do I do best from what type of space, and then do those things where you do them best. Don't suffer through some Excel project that's going to take you 2.5 hours in a place. If there's another place you could have done it in an hour and 15 minutes. Go to the place where you're going to do it better.
And talking about networking, one of the things I don't think we've touched on is how people go in, how networking is such a big deal for any kind of business, right? Well, you're basically in a building or in a floor with tens of different business owners of all different aspects of walks of life, and so it's a great way to not only meet people, keep doing what you're doing great, but then again, you can ask for a better setup to have that opportunity as well.
Yeah, and there's just an energy. It was really interesting when I worked from home from say March until May, call it, when COVID kind of first lockdown, and I thought I was being productive from home. If you had asked me, so has your personal productivity dropped? I'd have said no, because I was, first of all, I was nervous about losing my company. I was slamming it. I was working hard all day, every day, and I thought I was getting a lot done, and then I don't remember if it was May or June, but whenever it was that I went back to the office and I started working again. And I remember it was, looking down thinking, okay, it's 6:30, I guess, because I've got, pretty much everything I need to get done today. And I've looked down, it's 3 o'clock. I was like, wow. I got 3 extra hours today. And I can't really explain why. It wasn't until I went back to the office that I realized I wasn't as productive as I thought I was being, when I wasn't. So.
Tell us about your journey to be the entrepreneur you are now, and why in the world did you get into work suites where you don't have to do anything except sell space.
Yeah, well, that's actually why. I thought it was a lot easier than the first business we were in. So when I graduated from college, a business partner and I started a pickup and delivery laundry and dry cleaning service for college campuses. Okay. And it was
I would just take that back to my parents' house and have them do it.
Yeah, we only did SMU and TCU, and it was kind of a status, like everybody did it, all the cool kids did it kind of thing. And so, but man, that was a hard way, renting out laundromats all night, and it was a hard way to make a living. Mm-hmm. And so, but we had a little office in an executive suite. Cool. And after running that for 3 or 4 years, we didn't see that going up as high as we, thought it could, or we wanted to. So we sold that, and then basically first we bought out our landlord in the executive suite, and quickly we're like, well, this is a lot easier way to make a living than that is. So then we sold that and bought more of those. So our first executive suite that we bought, we were a tenant of. We did that back in 2001. And it's been interesting to watch the evolution of flexible workspace from right around then. We started off in there in 97, so seeing the 97, the kind of Y2K, 2001, the .com bubble thing. Shared workspace executive suites used to be office space and secretaries to type your documents for you. And then in the early 2000s, it was office space and telecom and fax machines and photocopiers and a T1 internet line and stuff like that. And then now, say maybe 2010 to the last 10 years, it's become office space and community. I mean, basically exactly what you said. It's this kind of, they have a cell phone, they have their own laptop, they don't need you to type documents for them, they don't really need your infrastructure. Yes, they need a big fat internet pipe, but that's really it. The rest of it is just, how can you make this a place where I can thrive better? And it usually it involves around the energy of the other people there.
This you mentioned millennials in your market piece. How do you see your offerings changing over the next few years, just because the millennials becoming a greater part of the population?
Yeah, I really think we've pivoted in the last couple of years to where, like I said, we used to be on the spectrum of kind of a WeWork, which is kind of millennials only, over 40 not allowed kind of a feel, and a Regus, which is kind of like a under 50 not allowed kind of a thing. And so we've kind of tried to position ourselves in the middle. And again, we have 22-year-olds and 82-year-olds, but our kind of core is kind of right in the middle. And honestly, it's a pretty underserved niche. So I don't really see us changing it much. Like I said, we've already pivoted from kind of the far right to the middle. And I feel like until there becomes way too much competition in that space, which right now there's kind of a bunch of competitors over here and a bunch of competitors over here, and kind of nobody in this middle slice. And so I kind of see us staying there, basically. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. I was wondering, too, with Regus and WeWork, trying to trim their size of their offerings in terms of products, and not just offerings, but locations, trying to reduce their locations. Are you considering looking at some of those locations in an expansion mode?
So we have looked, and we'll continue, opportunity. I get a call multiple times a week about, hey, do you want to come look at this space? Do you want to come look at this space? This operator's struggling, and this operator's struggling, because we're there. And it's not just us. There are several good operators who've made it through this without ever missing any rent payments, and so a lot of the building owners are coming to those of us who've made it through this, that, hey, this guy's not paying me. Do you want to go here? The problem for us is our product is so unique. Like I said, there's a whole bunch kind of in this bucket where you could take off the nameplate. You could take off the WeWork plate and put a Serendipity plate on there, and you wouldn't really notice because the build out's the same. Or you could take off a Regus plate and put on another one. But ours is unique, and there's nothing else that really feels like it. So I have yet to find one that I feel like I could cost effectively make fit our mold. So it's unfortunate, because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there, and I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation in our industry. A lot of these, are going to go out and anyway. So the better players are going to get bigger, and the bad players are going under.
Yeah.
You don't realize how nice these offices are too. I mean, that's the thing. They're really, really that elite, nice walk in, and it's just flawless.
Well, consistently, companies that pivot to what the consumer wants, too many of us, and I'm going to say this generally across the board, too many companies have a product, and then they try to tell the consumer why they should use it, instead of finding out from the consumer what they want and providing what they want. And that's it's age-old situation. But if you don't pivot and go to that, you're going to have the issues, and that's what you're saying about your competition right now is. They need to go in. I don't know what they need to do, but they need to go in and make changes to make those things work and continue to appeal. I'm going to switch subjects on us a little bit here. Marketing. video has become the current, it'll change, but it is the current way of getting out to the world and telling them what you do, why you do it better than somebody else, and why they can get a hold of you. What are you doing in the video world to make your life better and your business better?
Yeah, well, not enough. It's one of those things that's on our list. We do a lot because we're a physical space business. Let's say you were looking for a hotel for a vacation in Hawaii. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go look at as many pictures and videos of that place as you can. And so our website is filled with that. We do have video tours of all of our places and a lot of pictures and videos of all of our places to give people a feel of what it's like to be inside.
You done an interview with this character yet?
No.
He's good looking. He's got a place with you. He can tell you why it works. Why don't you have a video to do a testimonial, and then he'll only charge you $1,000 to do that.
I'll be a non-attorney paid spokesperson for you.
See, we've got testimonial videos, but I make sure to keep it people who are all way less attractive than me. I don't want to get this guy.
There you go. That's
he
smart.
competes
That's smart.
with you.
Yeah, he dominates me. That's no good. Yeah.
Now you know why.
Yeah.
Well, how do you see going forward to make this tool, which, I'm big on LinkedIn. Businesses are big on LinkedIn in terms of what they go to. As a business owner, I'm not going to Facebook to think about business. I'm going to see my kids there, and more recently, I've even tuned that down to where I only want to see my kids there. But the business communication, the business world, goes to LinkedIn with video, telling a story to get the things out there. So what do you see you doing in the future? You've got other avenues. You can certainly go to TV. You can go to other things.
We got a YouTube channel, but it could use some work. But I think you're kind of answering the question for me of things that I need to do, because like I said, we've got videos on our website. We've got kind of a YouTube channel that's kind of mediocre, to be honest, and we haven't put enough resources into it yet to. Even on, you listed Facebook as one, but whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, we do little snippets on Instagram and stuff, but I think the LinkedIn is probably where we're the lowest hanging fruit that we're not taking advantage of right now.
Well, all of you guys in the C-Suite Support Network group that work with marketing, work with video, that type of thing, you've just heard someone that wants. This is really the market that we're talking about. So much of the market today to pivot and have a good product, they need to get it out there. So if you're listening, contact us. We'll put you in touch with him. But seriously, going back to it, that is some of the best way to spend money today to get the word out of what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you can do. And now that you have your own insurance product that you can have for all of your tenants.
Uncanny.
Just you had no idea you were going to get that kind of vertical into your
all my
new
problems
business.
solved for me. I need to come. What are we talking about tomorrow? I'm coming back.
Come back and do it again. All right. Well, in taking the last step, one of the things that is very important to me is gratitude. What are you grateful for?
Gosh, it's funny. COVID, I don't know if you're asking specifically about COVID, but it's funny. I've always said that it's going to be kind of a long-winded answer, but I could describe to you I hope my wife doesn't mind me saying this, my wife and my marriage in a way where you would say, man, Tom Brady wouldn't trade lies with you, if he could. And I could, without telling any lies, just telling you the truth. Or I could just tell you selected parts of the truth, and you would say, man, how have you not jumped off a bridge? And it's the same is true for everybody. Everybody could say both of those things, and basically your happiness is just your ability to focus on the former and not the latter, to be grateful for all that's good, and don't try to change and focus on everything that's not perfect. And for me, during COVID, we had business was terrible. Business was awful for 9 months, but family was never better, and it was a really nice kind of reset of my happiness doesn't come from business. My happiness comes from the fact that I have an amazing wife of 23 years. I have 7 kids, believe it or not, from 22 down to 9.
And you should get a TV in your bedroom.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
No, but so we just the time together with the family, the dinners, the less activities and going around places, and just the quality time. We had some great family vacations. We probably weren't supposed to travel as much as we did, but we did take some good family trips, and just
don't worry, no one will know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Your secret's safe.
Rolling into one of the sayings or things that I have as far as myself and my group, the more you're grateful for what you have, the more you have to be grateful for. You just said that with your family and the things around that. So, closing out today, we want to thank you for being here. Appreciate that, Flip.
Thanks for having me.
No burger included. Steve,
I'll invoice you later.
invoice me later. Bob, thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for being with C-Suite Support, CEO Talks. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care.